It was a cold evening. The lights in the restaurant were warm and soft. Expensive glasses sparkled on every table. The air smelled like roasted lamb and buttered bread. Waiters walked fast, holding silver trays. People were dressed in suits, gowns, and shiny watches. Then the front door opened. A quiet breeze followed an old man as he stepped inside. He wore an old coat, a faded shirt, and a hat that looked like it had seen many winters. His shoes were dusty, and he carried no bag. People turned their heads. Conversation stopped. A woman at a table near the door whispered, "Who let him in?" The old man didn't say a word. He looked around slowly, like he had been here before, years ago. His eyes were calm. He walked to the corner and sat down at a small empty table near the window. No one greeted him. A young waiter came over, holding a menu. He looked down at the man and raised an eyebrow. "Sir, this is a fine dining restaurant," the waiter said. "Do you have a reservation?" The old man smiled. "No reservation. I'm just waiting for someone." The waiter looked him up and down, clearly judging. "Well, this area is usually for VIP guests." "That's fine," the old man said. "I'll wait quietly. I won't bother anyone." The waiter didn't like it, but he walked away, shaking his head. At the next table, 3 young men in suits were laughing loudly. One of them pointed toward the old man. "Look at him," he said. "What's he waiting for? A free meal." The second guy chuckled. Maybe he got lost on his way to the soup kitchen. The old man heard them, but he didn't react. He just looked out the window and smiled. A few minutes later, the restaurant manager, a tall man with slicked back hair, walked over. "Excuse me, sir," he said. "We don't mean to be rude, but people are complaining. If you're not dining tonight, we'll have to ask you to leave." The old man turned his head slowly. His voice was soft. "I'll order when the person I'm waiting for arrives." The manager frowned. "And who might that be?" "A friend," the man said. "He said he'd meet me here tonight." The manager sighed. "All right, but please don't disturb the other guests." "I never do," the old man replied. The manager walked away, muttering something under his breath. Back at the young men's table, the jokes continued. "This is going on my story," one of them said, pulling out his phone. "Old man tries to crash luxury restaurant. Watch this." He started filming, pointing the camera at the old man. The man noticed but didn't seem to care. A couple sitting 2 tables away called a waiter and asked to be moved farther from the smelly corner. Still, the old man waited. He didn't drink water. He didn't touch the menu. He just sat, quiet and calm, like time had no meaning. Every few minutes, he looked at the clock on the wall, then back to the door. The staff whispered behind the counter, "Why is he still here?" One said. "Maybe he's crazy," another replied. "Should we call security?" But before they could decide, something changed. The restaurant's double doors opened again, this time with force. A gust of cold air rushed in. Outside, a black car with silver rims waited at the curb. People near the windows gasped. A man in a tailored suit stepped inside. He was tall, with a sharp face and confident walk. His shoes shined like mirrors. He didn't stop to talk to the host. He didn't look at the menu. He walked straight toward the old man. Everyone watched. Forks froze midair. Waiters stopped walking. The young men with phones lowered their cameras. "Dad," the man said, with a smile. "Sorry I'm late." The old man stood up. He smiled wider now. "It's all right, son. I was just enjoying the view." The suited man hugged him tightly and pulled out the chair across from him. The room stayed silent. No one was laughing anymore. The restaurant was no longer loud. After the man in the sharp black suit hugged the old man, the air grew still. People stared, but no one spoke. Even the music playing softly in the background seemed quieter. The young waiter who had earlier spoken to the old man stood frozen near the kitchen. He watched the 2 men now sitting together, one in a worn-out coat, the other in a rich, clean suit. The young man swallowed hard. The old man sat back down calmly. His son, the man in the expensive suit, called a waiter with a small wave of his hand. "Yes, sir," the waiter asked, nervous now. "We'll take 2 of your best steak dinners, medium rare, and don't forget the special wine from your reserve list," the man said, his voice deep and calm. The waiter nodded quickly, almost bowing. "Right away, sir." The same guests who had mocked the old man minutes ago now whispered to each other with wide eyes. "Who is he?" a woman at a nearby table asked. "I think I've seen the younger guy before," said a man next to her. "He might be someone famous or powerful." At the corner table, one of the 3 young men who had joked earlier was slowly hiding his phone. He stopped recording. He no longer found the moment funny. Meanwhile, the old man and his son started talking. "You really came," the old man said with a smile. "Of course," the son replied. "You called, and you said it was important." The old man nodded. "It is. I needed to remember. This is the restaurant where your mother and I used to come every year on her birthday." The son looked around and then back at his father. "I didn't know that." "She loved it here," the old man said. "But things have changed." The son's eyes grew sharp for a moment. "Yes, I noticed. I saw how they treated you when I walked in. I saw everything." The waiter came back with water and 2 wine glasses. He moved carefully, like walking near royalty. The old man chuckled softly. "They didn't know who I was. I don't blame them." His son leaned forward. "But they didn't need to know who you were. You're a human being. That should be enough." Across the room, the manager was watching from behind the counter. His forehead had drops of sweat. He whispered to his senior waiter beside him. "Who is that guy?" the manager asked. "Why didn't anyone stop him from coming in?" The waiter whispered back, I think he's Mr. Cross." "The billionaire?" "Yes, the CEO of Crosstech Industries." The manager's face turned pale. Suddenly, the door opened again. This time, a woman in a black business suit entered. She walked fast and directly toward the corner table. "Mr. Cross," she said, slightly out of breath. "I came as soon as I could." "Good," he said. "Have a seat, Amanda." The old man looked confused. "Who is she?" "My top legal advisor," the son said. "She's here for a reason." He then stood up, facing the restaurant. Everyone was watching now. Even the chefs peeked through the kitchen doors. The son's voice was clear and strong. "This restaurant just taught me something," he said. "You see, my father came in peace as a guest, but he was treated with shame and disrespect. Why? Because of his clothes, because of his skin, because he looked too old to afford your steak." No one said a word. "Well," he continued, "starting tomorrow, this restaurant will have a new owner." Gasps filled the air. "My company is buying this place, and the first change we'll make is this." He pointed toward the manager. "You're fired. And so is the waiter who insulted my father." The manager opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. The old man looked at his son, surprised. "You don't have to do that, son." "Yes, I do," his son replied. "You've always taught me to stand up for what's right." He turned back to the room. "And one more thing. Next week, this restaurant will host a free dinner for all the elders in this neighborhood. No dress code, no judgment, just respect." One man in the back clapped softly. Then others joined. Soon, the room echoed with slow but growing applause. The old man lowered his eyes. He didn't want revenge, but seeing the respect return, that felt right. He took a sip of wine, smiled, and whispered, "Your mother would be proud." The sound of slow clapping still echoed around the restaurant as the old man picked up his glass of wine. His hand shook slightly, not from fear, but from all the emotions inside. For years, he had been treated like nothing. And now, in the same place that mocked him, people clapped for him. He looked at his son with soft eyes. "You've become everything your mother dreamed of," he said. His son nodded, but he wasn't smiling anymore. His eyes scanned the room. People had gone quiet again, afraid to speak or move too much. The manager stood stiff like a statue near the bar, red-faced and sweating. The waiter who had been rude earlier tried to hide near the kitchen, pretending to fix glasses, but there was no escaping the truth now. Mr. Cross, billionaire, businessman, and one of the most powerful black men in the city, had just made it clear this place was about to change forever. The assistant, Amanda, pulled out a folder and handed it to Mr. Cross. "All legal papers are ready, sir," she said. "The current owners accepted the deal this morning. We now own 78% of the shares. You have full control." The manager gasped. "This morning? But how?" Mr. Cross didn't look at him. Instead, he sat beside his father again. "Dad, I want you to do something." The old man raised his eyebrow. "What?" "Pull it out," his son said softly. "The business card." The old man chuckled and reached into the inside pocket of his old coat. He pulled out a plain black card with silver letters, the same card that the waiter laughed at earlier. "Give it to the young man," Mr. Cross said, pointing toward the rude waiter. The old man nodded and motioned to the waiter. "Come here, son," he said calmly. The waiter hesitated, but the room's silence pushed him forward. He walked slowly to the table, head down. "Yes, sir." "Take it," the old man said, handing him the card. The waiter looked confused. "Why? I don't understand." Mr. Cross spoke now, loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. "When my father tried to show you this card before, you mocked him. You judged him for his clothes. But that card is not just a card. It's the master key to every company I own." Everyone stared as the waiter turned the card over and read the silver writing. James Cross, founder and CEO, Crosstech Global Holdings. His hands started to shake. "That's right," Mr. Cross said. "The man you laughed at is the father of the CEO who owns half the city's biggest tech companies." The waiter's lips trembled. I didn't know." "That's the problem," the old man said gently. "You judged without knowing. You thought I didn't belong here. But the truth is, I helped build this city, brick by brick, code by code, and dream by dream." Mr. Cross stood up. "You're young. People make mistakes, but this is your lesson. Treat everyone with respect, whether they wear a suit or a simple coat." The waiter nodded slowly, eyes wet. "You're not fired," Mr. Cross said, "but you're being transferred to one of our training programs. You'll learn what real customer service means, and if you pass, you can return. If not, then it's over." Gasps filled the air again, this time not from anger, but from respect. "Thank you," the waiter whispered, walking away quietly. As the old man watched him leave, he looked around. All those who had laughed earlier now lowered their eyes. Then a woman in a red dress stood up and walked toward the table. "I'm sorry," she said. "I laughed earlier too. But now I see. I see how wrong that was." The old man gave a small smile. "It's okay. The world changes when hearts do." The woman nodded and walked back. Mr. Cross looked at his father. "You still carry that card?" The old man laughed. "Your mother made me promise I'd always keep it. She said, 'One day, someone will treat you like a nobody. Show them who you raised.'" They both laughed. And in that laugh, something powerful filled the air. Dignity, pride, truth. After the silence broke, the restaurant buzzed with quiet whispers. No one could believe what had just happened. The old man who was mocked had not raised his voice, not thrown a single insult. Yet, in just a few minutes, he had changed the entire room. The waiter who insulted him was gone. The manager stood frozen near the kitchen, pretending to check his phone, but his hands shook. People who had laughed now looked uncomfortable, stirring their drinks or pretending to look out the window. Mr. Cross leaned toward his father again. "Are you ready to eat now, Dad?" The old man smiled. "More than ever, but not here." Mr. Cross nodded. "I understand." He turned to Amanda. "Tell the driver to bring the car around. We'll dine elsewhere." Amanda nodded and stepped outside to make the call. Suddenly, the manager rushed forward. "Wait, sir, please. Let us fix this. A full meal, free of charge, anything you want." Mr. Cross stood, his tall frame towering over the manager. His voice was calm, but strong. "It's not about the food," he said. "It's about dignity, respect. My father sat at this table, and you made him feel small." The manager stuttered. We didn't know who he was." "That's the whole point," Mr. Cross said. "You only treat people kindly when you think they're important. What about when you don't know them? That's when your true character shows." The manager had no words. His eyes dropped to the floor. A little boy sitting nearby tugged at his mother's sleeve and whispered, "Mom, that man is a hero, right?" She nodded slowly, eyes full of tears. "Yes, baby, a real one." As Mr. Cross and his father walked toward the exit, every head turned. It wasn't just about power anymore. It was about the truth they had just witnessed. A simple, quiet man had reminded them all what real class looked like. Outside, the cold night air felt fresh. The old man took a deep breath. "I never thought I'd walk out of that place with my head this high," he said. His son smiled. "You didn't walk out. You rose." A silver Rolls-Royce pulled up to the curb. Amanda stepped out, opened the door, and smiled at the old man. "Your seat, sir," she said warmly. As he climbed into the back seat, a few diners followed them outside. Some wanted to say sorry. Some wanted to shake his hand. And some just wanted to witness the moment a man who was once judged became someone they admired. A man in a black suit approached slowly. "Excuse me, sir," he said to Mr. Cross. "I was at the table in the back. I work in real estate. If you ever need anything." Mr. Cross cut him off kindly. "Thank you, but we're not here for business tonight. We came for peace." The man nodded and stepped back. Inside the car, the old man chuckled. "People change fast when they see money." His son sighed. "I just wish they changed for the right reasons." The car pulled away, leaving behind flashing lights, shocked faces, and a restaurant that would never be the same again. As they drove, the old man leaned back and closed his eyes. "Your mother would be proud," he said. "I hope so," Mr. Cross replied softly, "because everything I am started with her and you." The city lights passed outside. In the quiet hum of the car, nothing more needed to be said. But the lesson had been given, loud and clear. The next morning, the restaurant opened like any normal day. The usual staff came in, some quieter than usual. The waiter who had insulted the old man was missing. Word had spread quickly about what happened the night before. Some people thought it was just gossip, but others knew it was real. Inside the manager's office, nervous energy filled the air. He couldn't stop looking at the door. He knew something big was coming. At exactly 10 o'clock a.m., the restaurant's front doors opened. The old man entered, this time not in his faded clothes, but in a sharp black coat. His shoes were polished, and he walked slowly but with confidence. Behind him came two lawyers, a woman holding a tablet, and finally, Mr. Cross. The staff froze. Some waiters stepped aside in silence. Others whispered, "That's him. That's the man from last night." Mr. Cross didn't stop at a table. He walked straight to the manager, who stood stiff with worry. "We're not here to eat," Mr. Cross said. The manager forced a smile. "Sir, please, let me apologize again. We made a mistake." Mr. Cross held up his hand. No more words. He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a business card. He placed it gently on the front desk. The manager leaned in to read it, and his face turned pale. The card read, "Howard Cross, Chairman and Owner, Cross Global Group Owner, HC Investments owner, HC Real Estate owner, HC Food and Dining Incorporated. The restaurant name was listed under subsidiaries. You own this place, the manager whispered. Mr. Cross nodded. I've owned this chain for over a year. I visit my locations secretly, not to eat, but to see how people are treated when no one's watching. The manager stepped back. His hands trembled. I didn't know. Mr. Cross looked at him with steady eyes. And that's the problem. Then he pointed to his father. This man built me. He sacrificed everything so I could become who I am. And you mocked him like he was nothing. The entire staff now stood still. The silence was thick. You're fired, Mr. Cross said quietly. The manager's mouth dropped open. I'm not just removing you, Mr. Cross continued. I'm bringing in people who understand kindness, who treat everyone with dignity, rich or poor. One of the lawyers stepped forward and handed the manager a letter. You can go, she said. Security will walk you out. The manager left in silence, head down. Mr. Cross turned to the staff. If anyone here stood up for my father last night, you will stay. If you laughed or joined in, your time is up too. A few waiters lowered their heads in shame. Then Mr. Cross looked at his father. Dad, would you like to say something? The old man stepped forward slowly. He smiled, not with pride, but with peace. I don't need revenge, he said. I just hope this place learns something. Not just to be kind to powerful people, but to be kind to all people. There was a long silence. Then, slowly, a young busboy stepped forward and clapped. One by one, others joined him. Not out of fear, but out of respect. As they walked out of the restaurant, a reporter waiting outside snapped a picture of the old man and his son. The headline that afternoon read, They laughed at the old man at lunch. Now he owns their jobs. But for the old man, it wasn't about ownership or power. It was about respect. And that small business card, it didn't just hold a name. It held a message. Never judge someone by their clothes. Never underestimate someone who sits quietly. Because behind that silence could be the man who owns the whole building.